It's closing in fast. I think maybe we better... We have a visitor.
It was the classic fish out of water story based on the man who came to dinner, in a way.
Alf is a critic. He happened to be an observer of human life, human behavior, and found it pretty ridiculous.
Well, I had the character for a while. I knew what the character was. I knew who he was. I had tested this character out. I would bring him to parties. I would bring him to social events, and I just knew. I used to irritate my wife with it constantly, and I knew I had something because she hated this character so much, and I knew that this was it.
Just don't break that thing.
Katie of Nine Tails. Have I ever broken anything? Lately.
I had shopped it around, and I had taken it to quite a few producers that were interested in it, but I never felt the sensibility was there. I never felt that they quite grasped what this concept could be. As a matter of fact, I ended up talking to the guys that did Mork and Mindy. And they said, "Oh, this will be great. This is, we want to take this really funny alien, and we want to do this show with it." And then they said, "Well, you know what? We need to change the character. It needs to be a little bit more human-like, so that the character could be like sitting in a bar, and no one will know it's an alien." And I said, "No, wait a minute. That's the character that you just saw. This furry guy that I presented to you. That's the character." So they didn't get it.
Not in a million years, pal. It's too far-fetched.
Maybe a year out there pounding the pavement trying to get this concept sold, I was lucky enough to hook up through an agent with Bernie Brillstein, who represented Tom Patchett.
I think Paul was sort of like thinking that he might like to meet me because he thought Buffalo Bill was so funny.
I was a fan of Tom Patchett way before I ever met him. I really appreciated his work with his partner, ex-partner, Jay Tarsis. They had done every show that they had ever done. The sense of humor was my sensibility. They were a little cutting edge, a little rough.
So I went in, I met Paul, and when I talked to him, it was like, wow, this guy is really talented.
Tom loved the idea. He got the character, and I was just thrilled that Tom was the guy, because he and I both thought the same, and we both had the same sense of humor, and he got the character. He knew what this character was supposed to be.
We thought there was something, and we developed an idea, who would be living with him. Does he have a roommate? Is he a detective, or does he live with a senator or something like that? And then we just decided, you got to go with an ordinary family. That's going to be the real thing, and that's the thing that's going to give it legs.
We went into the meeting at NBC with Tom, myself, Bernie Brillstein, and I actually brought Alf into the meeting unbeknownst to them. I walked into this meeting at NBC with a green plastic garbage bag, and I made some stupid joke about, I brought my laundry. I want to use the NBC commissary laundry facilities when we're done with the meeting. Ha, ha, ha. And everybody just, after that, forgot that I even brought the bag. We went to this huge conference room, and I took the bag and threw it under the table. They said, "Okay, you guys got your 10 minutes. Do your pitch." And Bernie explained it's an alien from space, and da-da-da. And Tom went into the whole details of it, and I could see they weren't getting it. They thought we were selling My Favorite Martian. And Bernie Brillstein chimed in. He goes, "Look," he said, "before you guys pass on this, we think you should meet the character. At least meet who we are talking about." So it's okay. So he nudged me. I reached under the table, and I got Alf, and I brought him up. and I positioned him at the table so it actually looked like he was seated at the table. And everybody was just staring at him. Silence fell over the room. And of course, they're waiting for something brilliant and hysterically funny for Alf to say. And Alf really didn't say anything. He just kind of like looked around the room. And then when he came to Brandon Tartikoff, Alf chose to pick his nose and wipe it on Brandon Tartikoff's jacket. Of course, they went nuts. That was so disrespectful in a way. And Tartikoff thought that was hysterically funny. And by the end of the meeting, he was there nose to nose, eye to eye with Alf, talking to him. And I knew we were home free. Rest is history, as they say.
Willie. Willie, what is it?
I don't know. Brian's right. It's an ALF.
What?
An ALF. An ALF. That's short for alien life form.
I went ahead and wrote the script. NBC really liked it, and during the execution of that script, Paul and I really got to being able to connect in terms of what was going to be said, how it was going to be said, and then we shot the pilot, and we realized how difficult this show was going to be.
From a production standpoint, it was a difficult show to do. There were a lot of technical things that we needed to develop and figure out how to do.
We had to move the character around, or it would have been really boring. Well, that's a cumbersome thing to try to do. So we had to actually build a stage that was 4 feet off the ground, so that you see the couch and you see the furniture and everything like that. And then if he's coming out of the kitchen, you've got to create a move, which means that you have to have an alleyway, a place where we could actually literally make moves.
One day, I'll walk into that kitchen and keep right on walking. Ow!
I worked with my wife on the show. She was very instrumental at the time. She was the technical supervisor on the show, and she was responsible for figuring out and working with the people that were responsible for making Alf move and work and walk and deal with things. And she was there making sure that Alf always looked right, that there were no angles that were not suitable for him. She knew Alf before he was a star. And didn't like him. She didn't like him. He tormented her.
Willie, make him stop. Willie, make him go.
Stop! Go! Make up your mind!
We would rehearse for 3 days, and it would take actually 2 days to shoot the show and get it in the can, and they were long days.
We couldn't have a live audience. Most of the shows that I had done had live audiences, multiple camera. Bob Newhart, Carol Burnett, and those people thrived with a live audience.
We had to shoot it almost film style, and work out all the intricacies that Alf needed to do, and how we were going to get him to a certain point, and how we were going to have him handle all these props. And it was a challenge. But I look back at some of the things that we did, and I look back and say, wow, they were just beautifully done, and technically. I'm so impressed. The production values of the show were quite remarkable, and we had a great crew. Everybody who worked on that show was really good at what they did, and that helped. That helped a lot.
Hold this, Willie.
What is it?
Oh, that's just nuclear waste from my spaceship. Oh, hey, don't worry. Life on this planet will exist as long as that little lid doesn't pop off. Oh, wait. These are my crayons.
Tom Patchett had done a show prior to Alf called Buffalo Bill, and Max was in that show. So Tom was very aware of who he was as a performer, and he knew what this man could do, and he knew how brilliant he was.
His humor comes from the same thing that Bob Newhart had, which is this sort of like deer in the headlights kind of thing, a little hesitation, a little like befuddlement in a way.
I don't think there was ever a doubt in Tom's mind who was going to play the part of Willie Tanner. I think he always had Max Wright in his sights.
I asked Max if he would do it, and he said yes. And then he helped in some of the readings with the other people to cast them.
Well, when I left, Alf was writing a song. I think it might have grown.
A song? Oh, no.
What?
Willie, I think that Alf wrote that song for me.
For you?
I might as well tell you this. Alf has a crush on me.
Anne Shadeen was cast. I think we did read some other actresses for the part, and she was the best. We loved her. And same with Benji and Andrea. They read with Alf, and we saw that there was some kind of a chemistry there, and we just went with it.
Sometimes I don't understand you at all.
Tell her, Brian.
He's an alien. Okay, but besides that.
Andrea she was so young at the time. She had braces on her teeth. That's how young she was. And she was so innocent. So I think that's what we were looking for with the cast, especially with the young boy. We didn't really want this precocious young kid to be, trading lines with Alf. We wanted the sense of wonder and the sense that, going back to that E.T. type of magic where it's Alf and a little kid.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, Brian, try to find me.
You're supposed to find me.
Well, where are you?
You have to look for me.
Why would I want to do that?
Have you ever played hide and seek before?
Yeah, there you are. I win.
I learned a lot doing Alf because I had to work with an ensemble cast, and I didn't really have any acting experience. So I just kind of stayed true to the character. I knew who he was, and I knew how he thought.
Alf, hide in the kitchen.
If you weren't always sending me to the kitchen, I might not eat so much.
Alf, please, please.
Well, no wonder Willie's pants don't fit me anymore.
I think it was a learning process as I went along. I think I could see how I grew as a performer each season and how I knew what was right for the character and what wasn't right for the character. It just happened. It was so much fun to be able to explore that side of it because Alf was able to say things I would never be able to say. Alf was able to do things I would never be able to do. And I think that was important. And I think the first season, the writers really got who Alf was.
You are getting sleepy. You are no longer a cat. You are a bagel. Dude, hey, you scared me. You ought to wear a bell.
What's going on here?
I was just teaching Lucky how to tell time. Show Willie what you've learned.
You were hypnotizing him, weren't you?
Okay, you caught us. I'm trying to help Lucky beat his smoking problem.
A lot of the comedy was that it was just him pointing out how people live, how people behave, why they use, Roquefort dressing on anything.
I remember Tom saying, we write this show not to make this person laugh or that person laugh. We write the show that makes us laugh. And this character brought us that opportunity to write that kind of a show that made us laugh and that could speak for us or could be an extension of our personalities.
Do I think we should let an alien from outer space watch Psycho while our son sleeps in the other room?
Hey, no problem. Just leave me the keys to the liquor cabinet.
Every season was a different crew of writers, mostly. And they were edgy. Every one of those writers had a certain edge to them. And I think they were thrilled to be writing for a character like this because there weren't too many characters in sitcoms that you could write like this. So they got a chance to say all the things that they wanted to say.
By the way, don't bother looking for your laxative on a rope.
You mean my soap on a rope?
Trust me on this one.
There are some lines that we were never able to use because of the writers' room, it just goes wild, and they pitch the wildest, craziest, funniest things. But it was really a lot of fun. It was really, really a lot of fun to be there with those guys and girls and listen to them have their take on what did Alf want to have to say about such and such.
Brian, bring me the family budget. Or as I like to call it, Gone with the Wind.
When he says these abrasive things or critical things, it's funny, it's not mean, because Alf is basically an innocent and just calls it like it is. He doesn't pick fights, he just pokes fun. And in doing so, hopefully some of the truths about human behavior resonate and people can relate to it.
I say we fight violence with violence. That's how we solve things back home.
But, Alf, don't you remember what happened to your planet?
Well, it blew up in a nuclear holocaust. Why?
Don't you see the connection?
What connection?
I give up.
Me too.
It was challenging, too, and especially as we got on into seasons 2, 3, and 4, because Alf was a shut-in, and we weren't able to open him up to too many characters.
Why don't you just invite her here?
Alf.
Oh, yeah, right. It's the old, if someone sees the alien, they'll turn him in excuse. Well, it's beginning to wear a little thin.
It got to be kind of stifling at times for the writers because Alf was homebound. And then we started doing dream shows or fantasy shows where Alf thinks he's the president of the United States, or Alf is such and such. And those were fun because it got to show that Alf as a character worked on many, many levels, and that opened up the show. And I think everybody at one time or another wanted to do, oh, let's just keep doing these fantasy shows. Let's just keep doing these dream sequences. And I think somebody said, what might have been me, listen, we're going to do 1 or 2 dream sequences a season. That's it. We can't be doing 100 dream. In retrospect, it might have been fun to do it like an anthology show where Alf is a different character every week, which could be funny. But that was the challenge for them.
Skipper, can I fish too?
It's Gilligan. The skipper, too.
Shh, Gilligan, you'll scare the fish.
I'm here on Gilligan's Isle.
We ended up opening him up to some characters. The first character we ever opened him up to, I think, was Jody, the blind girl.
Alf, hi. I'm Jody.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, please, you don't have to bow.
We ended up using her for a couple of episodes. We got a couple of stories out of that where she didn't know he was an alien. So we had that, and then we opened him up to Lynn's grandmother, played by Ann Mira, and then we opened him up to her boyfriend / husband-to-be, which was Paul Dooley.
You know, I've played a lot of clubs over the years, but you're the third strangest thing I've ever seen.
Then we brought in Jake, the Achmonic's nephew next door, who was with us for a season or 2. So we had to pick and choose who we opened Alf's world up to.
What are you anyway?
I'm an alien from the planet Melmac. I have powers you can only dream of.
Like what?
I could watch 10 hours of TV without ever getting up to go to the bathroom.
I always felt with Alf, as with most things, if you think about it, less is better. I was the one saying, why does Alf have to be in every scene in the show? Can we not have him in one scene, but the audience, no, they want him. They want him. When Alf is not on camera, people want to see, they want to know where he is. What's he doing? So the Saturday morning was a way to open up Alf's world again and show his life back on his planet.
Gordon, you're going to be late.
Hey, Mom, relax. I've still got 5 whole minutes. Yow!
And then we spun off the Saturday morning show to another one called Alf Tales, which was a spoof of classic fairy tales, Rumpelstiltskin or Cinderella or whatever it was. And we added our little Melmacian twists to it, so it would be all within the character, all within his world.
Prithee, stranger, are you as good with the quarterstaff as you are with Jan's saxophone?
What's a quarterstaff? Oh, you mean the big stick.
I thought those shows were pretty hip, going back to my philosophy about animation with Bugs Bunny and Rocky and Bullwinkle. I wanted the shows to be hip too. I didn't want it to be Saturday morning fare, and we used sitcom writers to write the Saturday morning shows.
Here we go. Stir fryer. Kitty bits coming up, guys.
I hate kitty bits. I want a slime ball.
Slime balls are for dessert, Augie. You know that.
That was fun too. That was a challenge because you come up with a fantasy world, the planet Melmac. What does it look like? What do they do there? How strange is it? What are their traditions?
Give me a fish so we can get this game started. Splatter up!
Yo, it's mine! Ouch! Foul! Foul! Hey, that fish had tartar sauce on it.
From a writing standpoint, that stuff was fun. And it was always also fun during the sitcom years to be able to have Alf recollect to Willie, well, back on my planet, we had yada, yada, yada. So who's going to dispute any of that? And a lot of it, you didn't even know if Alf was making it up or not.
What are you doing in this barrel?
There I was getting ready to go up Widowmaker Falls.
You went up a waterfall?
Yeah, and the ride was so rough, I almost threw down.
One of my favorite lines was they had given Willie an atlas on space for his birthday. It was a birthday party. And during the course of the celebration, Alf is going through the book with a marker, and he's marking things up. And Willie says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm correcting some of the more glaring errors." And Willie says, "You know," he said, "I think you make things up sometimes, because you once told me that there was a race of cucumber people living on Mars."
Not a race, a family, a small family. They're mean.
How do you dispute this? I mean, it's like he knows more than you do.
What is the primary element of the planet Jupiter?
Oh, it's easy. Hydrogen.
You're wrong. It's buttermilk.
We never knew whether we were going to come back for a fifth season or not. And we decided to leave the fourth season on a cliffhanger with the promise that should we not come back for a fifth season, that there would be some kind of closure, that NBC would have ordered a special or a movie of the week or whatever to kind of like shut it all down and explain what happened, and that would be it. Unfortunately, there was a change of regime at the network, and they didn't make good on their promise. So we ended up doing the cliffhanger, not going to a fifth season, and it was just left up in the air until ABC came to us and said, what did you guys think? And we said, well, we would like to make the movie that would explain where Alf is and show where it was going. And I think they were considering it as a backdoor pilot at the time, that if it worked, or if they liked the premise, that maybe there was another series in it where Alf was in the military and sort of like a Sergeant Bilko kind of character where, he's selling stuff at the PX and he's got some dirt on this guy and he's blackmailing this guy. He's got, and that could have been very funny. So we were really lucky that ABC gave us the opportunity to put some kind of closure on it.
Safe home, my friend.
Hey, no problem. We'll be going against traffic.
It still holds up, and it's still, for some people of a certain age, when they hear that one had something to do with it, they're very, very excited and complimentary.
I remember when we got picked up to do the series, I think it was Variety had done an article to show, you know, when they list all the shows that are going to be on for the fall schedule. And they said, and NBC at 8 o'clock on Monday nights has decided to put on a puppet show. And it was sort of like a dig. And I think later on there was a retraction, or there was an article that they said, yes, they put a puppet on, but is anybody listening to what this puppet is saying? It's actually pretty funny. So it took a while for people to understand that it wasn't really meant to be a puppet show. It was just that we chose to bring Alf to life in that way.
The thing that surprised us most in that is that when we heard that there were people who always watched Monday Night Football, which was on opposite, and they would gather together, maybe they're in a bar, and they said, no, we're not watching it, we're watching Alf first. And these were like jocks and people like, you know, like people willing to get into a fist fight over it.
Oh, football! Can I watch too?
Oh, Alf, last time we watched football together, you belched all through the whole game.
Hey, that's how we applaud on Melmac. Hey, good catch!
We were able to do a lot of things. We were able to co-host the Macy's Day Parade. We did an Orange Bowl parade. We did guest spots on Blossom, on Matlock, on The Love Boat, and then Alf also made appearances on Hollywood Squares. He was a semi-regular on Hollywood Squares, which was perfect for Alf because you got to see the character outside of the sitcom world. You got to experience the character as the character, which was really, really, really good for me. I liked that. I liked doing Hollywood Squares. It gave me a chance to make it look like Alf was not prepared. Everything that he said was in reaction to real time. It wasn't a rehearsed, written sitcom. It was like Alf on a talk show. You get to see him as a character, as a personality, and stand up to, you know, the questioning and to the world that he is. So that really was a challenge and fun for me too, because outside of the sitcom world, he was still very real.
Alf, you interrupted my drum solo. Oh, we're back. Hi. I guess it must be time for our spontaneous, unrehearsed banter. You start.
I think about the number of celebrities who thought Alf was Larry King, his favorite. Ronald Reagan is supposed to have been his favorite. Does not. I mean, that's sort of a joke, but it wasn't a joke.
Ronald Reagan was a big Alf fan. And his daughter, Maureen, is the one I think that made the call to get us to go to the White House.
It was a Christmas party. They have a Christmas party every year, and they invited Alf to come to the Christmas party and be the guest of honor.
The funny story is we never knew whether or not we were going to meet the president or not because he was doing his thing. And I said to Nancy Reagan, I said, are we going to meet the big guy, you know? And she says, well, she says, he's in the Oval Office and we don't know what's going on, but he's working and it's okay. And, you know, and we did our thing, and we happened to be walking down the hall and an elevator door opens and there's Ronald Reagan in the elevator. And Nancy Reagan runs over to him, grabs him by the arm. She goes, Ronnie, come with me. And she brings him over to me. Now, I don't have Alf with me. I'm there with my family and friends and everything. And she says, Ronnie, this is Alf. She points to me. This is Alf. And he puts his hand out and he goes, oh, you're Alf. And I shook his hand and I said, and you are? And he just slapped his knee. He thought it was very funny and had a photo op. We had pictures, click, 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 and we all became stars with President Reagan. So that was quite exciting.
Hello.
Listen, I know you're a busy guy, so I'll make this brief. You see, all I wanted to do was talk to you about your bombs.
Oh, now look, you're not going to bring up the Bonzo films again. I was under contract. I had no choice.
The fan base that we established, even to this day, is mind-boggling. I still get a lot of fan mail. I still get a lot of requests. I think when it finally dawned on me the impact that this character had on people, and still does, I think that's very rewarding. And we did a lot of stuff back in the day with Make-A-Wish, that the kids wanted to talk to Alf, and we were able to do that. As a matter of fact, the Alf Special Christmas is based on an actual true story. A child that we knew, Tiffany, the show was dedicated to her.
This is fantastic. A stuffed animal that talks and eats cookies. I've got to show Nurse Hilliard.
Oh, no, please! Don't tell anyone!
Why not?
Well, because I'm not a stuffed toy. I'm real. And I'm in danger. You've got to help me get home.
One of her last requests during the Make-A-Wish program was to meet Alf, and we set that up. So to get letters to say, Alf, you changed my life, and you don't know, I mean, all we were doing is a funny TV show and trying to do the best work that we can. But a lot of people read into it more than we even knew. It was wonderful, and you know, get letters. You were there at a time when my life was, I was so depressed, and you brought me joy and happiness, and I can't thank you enough. And that is very rewarding because you don't set out to do that, and you don't know what kind of impact you're going to have.
Dr. Shumway, if you hadn't have been here, I don't know how to thank you.
You just did. You said thank you. Merry Christmas.
Alf is my conscience. Alf is the character that gives me permission to live life and enjoy it. And he would say that. He'd say, go for it. Do it. Why not? And I've done a lot of things since that have been borderline reckless and foolish, but also I've had a lot of fun.
He brought something to my life, a joy to my life, an ability for me to express myself in a way that wouldn't be so caustic if it was coming from me, a way to open up the world a little bit. And I still feel to this day that Alf still has a lot to say and still could bring a lot of happiness and joy. And I mean, you know, we were a little bit outspoken in the 80s, and, you know, it was a lot more benign times back then. I mean, imagine if Alf had the vehicle today to get on camera and start yelling and preaching and telling people, what are you guys doing with your planet? What's going on here? Why is I don't understand this. I've been here for 30-something years, and I still don't understand it. Why are things being done this way? If you could use that in a way to wake people up and open their eyes, well, there's another advantage of being able to underline something that, you know, without hitting them over the head. I don't know. It's a challenge, and I think I look forward to maybe, you know, he's not done yet. I don't think he's retired yet, and I think he's got a lot to say.
I wanted to tell you something. I really miss all of you. And the thought of never seeing you again sort of breaks my heart. So, you know, if you could, try to get in touch with me. Or better yet, come by. And I'll introduce you to these lovely people.